You've all had that family member or that friend that's trying to drag you to a barbecue or some kind of summer party right when you're smack in the middle of trying to get in amazing shape. I'm Thomas Delauer with SixPackAbs.com, and today I am breaking down my 3 top tips and tricks to use when you're going to a summer barbecue. These are foods that you should be eating, or foods that you should at least be paying attention to eating when it comes down to enjoying yourself this summer. So I'm going to get right down to it. The first one is, if you're going to a barbecue, you're probably going to be eating some kind of grilled meat. So what I want to address here is, if you're going to go that direction, for a multitude of reasons, go with the fattier cuts. The first reason is it's more ethical, okay? Like, use all cuts of meat if you're going to go down that road. You know how I stand in that world, and I'm a big proponent of making sure if you're going to do that, you utilize it. But secondly, you want to make sure that you're getting the fat in the picture. Most people are going to steer away from the saturated fats because, well, most of the industry leads us to believe that saturated fats are bad. But in reality, there's a couple really key reasons why you want to get those saturated fats in, especially at a summer barbecue. First one is brain health, okay? I mean, who doesn't want to at least feel sharp? Our brains are comprised of 60% saturated fat. That's just one reason, okay? Additionally, we have something called the myelin sheath. The myelin sheath is a coating of the nerve, and it is made up predominantly of saturated fat. This helps send a nerve signal to different areas of the body. This includes when you're working out and you're trying to get the most out of your workout. Your brain can send the signal to the muscle that much clearer if you have the right kinds of saturated fats. If you're not a meat eater, then you can definitely go with something like palm oil or coconut oil. Okay, but we also have to factor in that saturated fats are a key contributor to actually signaling different processes within the body. A good example is insulin. Believe it or not, how your body responds to carbs and how your body responds to insulin in the first place is somewhat dictated by saturated fats. They act as a catalyst to trigger the body's response with insulin, whether it triggers more insulin or less insulin. Now, when it comes to the fat loss properties, it actually can help you burn some more fat through 2 ways. One, satiation, the obvious one. 9 calories per gram is going to end up making it so that you don't feel quite as hungry when you do consume some fat. It's a lot easier to eat a bunch of loaves of bread than it is to eat a bunch of coconut oil, right? You just get satiated that much faster. So the other thing we have to look at, though, is priming the pump, as I always call it. If you condition your body to utilize fats as a source of fuel by eating more of them, your body becomes more metabolically efficient at using them as a source of fuel, which means when it comes time to strip down your body fat layers, your body is going to be more efficient at utilizing those as well. All right, let's roll into the next food, and this is one that Papa is always sitting up on the grill, right? We're talking asparagus. Get that grilled asparagus simply because it has something called asparagine in it. This asparagine has a powerful diuretic effect. What I mean by that is it helps the kidneys flush out extra water and extra minerals that don't need to be there. But this may not appeal to you. You might be saying, why do I want to drop water? I want to make sure that I have water in my body. Well, if you're at a pool party for one, who doesn't like dropping a couple pounds of extra water to look your best? So that's cool perk number one. But secondly, if you're trying to burn a lot of fat and you're getting in shape, well, you want the body to metabolize and clear things out. The next thing we want to look at is it contains over 100% of your daily value of vitamin K. Sounds boring, right? Well, the thing is, vitamin K helps the proper absorption of vitamin D and calcium, which means you don't have excess calcium in your blood, which means you don't feel as nervous or anxious. I don't know who I'm speaking to right now, but I can tell you for one, I have social anxiety. I don't want to deal with a lot more anxiousness and feeling nervous all the time. So if I have that extra calcium going to where it's supposed to go, and I can feel calm, cool, and collected at the pool party, then I'm going to be that much happier. Lastly, when it comes to asparagus, it has something called Racemofuran. Racemofuran is an anti-inflammatory phytochemical that does a pretty darn cool thing. How many times have you ever been sore right after doing a bunch of deadlifts? I'm saying this to you right now because I did 8 sets of deadlifts yesterday and I'm struggling to even stand up right now. Racemofuran does something unique in the body. It acts on something called the cyclooxygenase enzyme 1, COX1 enzyme. And what this cyclooxygenase enzyme does is triggers an inflammatory response and triggers a pain response to inflammation. So by having asparagus and getting this Racemofuran, we actually inhibit the production of COX1 enzyme. therefore making it so that we don't have as much pain and we reduce the inflammation that is directly correlated with muscle trauma, directly correlated with workouts. So do the math, it's like taking ibuprofen without the stomach bleeding. All right, now we talk about the last one, watermelon. Okay, watermelon clearly is not a low-carb food, but get this, a half a cup of watermelon only has 6 grams of net carbs. It's probably one of the lowest volume carbohydrate foods that you can consume. You're gonna get the most bang for the buck in terms of enjoyment. You can have a bowl of watermelon and only have like 12 grams of carbs. That's barely enough to even kick you out of ketosis if you're careful. Now, the things we have to look at, it's mostly water, 92% water, so you're really not getting too much to begin with. You're just getting water. Okay, but there's another couple of components that are really cool. First one is lycopene. Lycopene may not seem like it's something that's gonna be super exciting for you right now, but lycopene is gonna help you later on down the road. And I'm gonna reference something just a little bit to bring it down to reality. Okay, so what some studies looked at were people that consumed lycopene, particularly people that were over the age of 50. So I know this may not apply to you right now, but it's gonna apply later, and I'm gonna circle it back and it's gonna make sense. Those that consumed lycopene had a 55% lower risk of stroke than those that didn't. Why is this relevant? Because it shows us that not only does lycopene help with blood flow, but it also helps with vessel inflammation that can trigger strokes and heart issues, which directly means that there's a correlation with better workouts. So you see, we got two pieces together. Just because the studies are talking about older generations doesn't mean that it doesn't apply to us. Then additionally, there's one super cool component. It's called Citrulline. Not only does Citrulline fight muscle soreness, it totally does, and it's pretty awesome, but Citrulline has a really big effect on inflammatory markers within the body as well. You see, Citrulline acts on some interesting things within the body, and it does this through its conversion to what we know of as Arginine. Many of you watching this video have probably heard of Arginine before because Arginine is what's responsible for giving us a muscle pump. Some of us take it as a supplement to try to get more blood flow and try to get more pump and nutrient delivery to a muscle. All right, that's all fine and dandy, but let's talk about some other aspects. That conversion of citrulline, which watermelon contains, into Arginine blocks something that would normally cause us to gain fat. What this is an inflammatory marker known as tissue nonspecific alkaline phosphatase, also known as TNAP. What TNAP does is it encourages the storage of fat cells. When we inhibit this TNAP, we actually slow down the storage of fat cells. Pretty darn powerful right then and there. But take it one step further, the after effect of Arginine in general actually stimulates fatty acid oxidation and stimulates the proper gene expression that is linked to fatty acid oxidation, meaning 2 steps ahead of burning fat. So watermelon can actually later on down the line cause you to burn more fat in the following workout. So there you have it. There's 3 foods that you need to make sure you don't avoid at a barbecue. And it's really that simple. So now when your family's trying to drag you to something, make sure that you're circling back and saying, I'm only gonna go if they have watermelon, if they have high-fat foods, and if they have asparagus. And as always, make sure you comment and let us know what kind of videos you want to see here on Six Pack Abs. Make sure you check out some of the other videos from Johnny, Henry, and myself so that you can keep it locked in here for everything fitness, nutrition, and health related. I will see you on SixPackAbs.com.